Hi, I'm Marsha Chan, and this is Chapter 11, Coordinate Conjunctions and Transitions. A3, I asked you to think critically about form and to find all the connectors, both the coordinating conjunctions and the transitions. I hope you have checked the reading, discovered which kinds of words are coordinating conjunctions and which are transitions and what they mean. But first, let's review fanboys. Fanboys is an acronym for the 7 coordinate conjunctions that we have in English. Let's look at some examples. For tells a reason. I'm taking this class for I want to improve understanding and use of English grammar. I see one, that is the first independent clause, plus a comma. Then the coordinating conjunction for. And then IC2, that is the second independent clause, followed by a period. Each of the independent clauses could be by itself a simple sentence. But when they're joined together with a coordinating conjunction, that glues them together, and the first IC is followed by a comma. Now let's look at the word nor. Now let's look at the word and. This is the most common conjunction. Here's an example. The professor creates lectures on video, and I watch them and do the exercises in the book and online. I see one. The professor creates lectures on video, comma, CC or coordinating conjunction, and I see two. I watch them and do the exercises in the book and online. Notice that this coordinating conjunction can be used to join two ICs, two independent clauses. And of course, it can be used to join two verbs. I watch them and do the exercises, two verb phrases, or two noun-object phrases, such as in the book and online. They can connect two of practically anything. That's the most versatile of the coordinating conjunctions. The next one is N for nor. I don't have to attend class in person, nor do I have to pay for a parking permit on campus. I don't have to attend class in person is the first IC, comma, plus CC, coordinating conjunction, nor. Notice the special grammar. The word order in the IC after the connector nor is inverted. So you have the auxiliary do, then the subject I, and then the main verb have. Kind of looks like a question, doesn't it? Nor do I have to pay for a parking permit on campus, but it's followed by a period. So that is for emphasis that both sentences or both independent clauses are negative. The B stands for but, which shows contrast. Viewing these lecture videos is not required, comma, but they certainly help my understanding of English grammar. So these two independent clauses show contrast. The letter O stands for or. I can submit my homework in advance, comma, or I can wait until just before the deadline, period. The letter Y stands for yet, which shows contrast, unexpected contrast, even stronger than but. I've studied English for many years, comma, yet there is still much room for improvement. Analyze the coordinating conjunctions in the article. Ongoing violence worldwide is incredibly destructive, yet we humans find it very difficult to stop fighting. Independent clause 1, ongoing violence worldwide is incredibly destructive, comma, coordinating conjunction, yet. Independent clause 2, We humans find it very difficult to stop fighting. This shows contrast. The size of the group needs to be maintained for it to continue functioning, comma. So animals have learned this behavior in order to survive, period. IC1 shows a reason. The size of the group needs to be maintained for it to continue functioning. After the connector so, we see the result. What's the result? Animals have learned this behavior in order to survive. So this is a compound sentence with the connector so. When there's a fight, the loser often initiates the process of forgiveness, but sometimes the winner approaches the loser to make up. Here's the word but to show contrast between which side initiates forgiveness. The loser often does so, but sometimes the winner does. Now notice that this is not a compound sentence. This is a compound complex sentence. Why? Because it has 3 clauses. The first one is a DC or dependent clause when there is a fight. This is dependent or subordinate. It cannot stand alone as a simple sentence. It must be attached to an independent clause, which it is here. It's attached to the loser often initiates the process of forgiveness. Those two, the first clause, DC, and the second clause, IC, have a complex relationship. The second clause and the third clause are both ICs. They're both independent clauses. The loser often initiates the process of forgiveness. That could be, by itself, a simple sentence. Sometimes the winner approaches the loser to make up. That could be a simple sentence. Now it's all joined together in one compound complex sentence with 3 clauses. The word but shows the contrast between the 2 independent clauses. Not all disputes are created equal, comma, and some are not likely to end in resolution. All right, so these 2 ICs are joined together by the coordinating conjunction and. They're showing additional information, and both of them show the same idea that not all disputes are created equal and some are not likely to end in resolution. These are joined together with the most common coordinating conjunction. Besides coordinating conjunctions, we'll also look at some transitional phrases. Analyzing the transitions in the article. How and when do they resolve their disagreements? Most importantly, is there anything that we can learn about conflict resolution from the animal kingdom? Look at the transitional phrase, most importantly. So let's take a look at the first question. The first question is more general. How and when do they resolve their disagreements? And even more important than that, in fact, most importantly, what can humans learn from animals about resolving our disagreements? So most importantly is the connector from the first sentence to the second. Then we have, let's look at the spotted hyena, for instance. For instance is the same as for example. So let's look at the example of the hyena, the spotted hyena, which is a kind of animal, to learn something more about how they resolve their disagreements. So you can see that the transition usually comes at the beginning, but also can come at the end. Can we put for instance at the beginning? Yes. We could say, for instance, let's look at the spotted hyena. So those are 2 places where the transitional phrase can be put. Let's take a look at another example. The interesting thing, however, is that they don't hold a grudge. However, shows contrast. So the interesting thing, even though animals disagree with each other, even though they show conflict, they don't hold a grudge. They don't stay angry or upset for a long time. It lasts for only a short time, a few minutes. Notice that this word, however, is used inside of an independent clause, a simple sentence. Subject thing, verb is. This word, however, can also join two sentences, but in this case, it's within a single sentence, and it joins the idea that came just before it about conflicts. Let's look at another example. Like hyenas, many other animals engage in conflict resolution as well. Like hyenas. Like means similar to. Similarly, similar to hyenas, many other animals engage in conflict resolution. So we can show the relationship between the first example, which was about hyenas, and additional examples with different or other animals. So here we have a connector between the previous idea about hyenas and the new ideas, many other animals. Be careful about the word like. In this case, it's not a verb, it is a preposition. So the prepositional phrase, like hyenas, similar to hyenas. All right, so that's used as a transition. What else do we have? Reconciliation is so beneficial to a group of chimps, in fact, that if neither opponent will initiate it, another chimp may step in to settle the fight. In fact, it is true that. All right, so this might be a surprising idea that when the opponents cannot resolve it, a third individual will come in or may step in to try to resolve or settle the fight. Nevertheless, not all disputes are created equal. Nevertheless shows contrast. However, in spite of this fact, in other words, even though there's an attempt to resolve conflicts, sometimes they cannot be resolved. And every conflict is not the same as the next. Here's another example. Rhesus monkeys are aggressive and rarely choose reconciliation. On the other hand, stumptails have a talent for making up. So there are two types of monkeys, and they are very different in the way they behave regarding reconciling differences. So on the other hand, shows a contrast. In contrast, on the other hand, stumptail monkeys have a talent for reconciling or making up.